What is going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of V4 Higurashi When They Cry Go. This is episode 11, and with me, as always, I have Blue Spade.
So, yeah, we immediately pick up after the last episode where Sadako is just like literally still freaking out after what she's been through, and then as soon as the teacher comes in, like Sadako just suddenly flips back to normal, pretending nothing that everyone just literally saw just like literally nothing happened at that point.
Yeah, that was a bit disturbing. How she just like flips a switch and it's back to
Yeah, like and of course, nobody in that room like really believes, everything's fine. And this of course leads into like the episode just completely goes in a completely different direction at this point, in which like Shion suddenly just appears into the classroom, which originally she was not involved in, like in the original arc from before. And honestly, like her involvement makes sense because of her, because of the reason why she's so close to Sadako is because of her relationship with Satoshi.
Yeah. Yeah, so I want to say she might have been more involved in the answer arc for this particular arc, which was in, of course, Higurashi Kai. I do remember certain things about this arc in Higurashi Kai, but I will say it does definitely seem like they are taking, if not like the whole, like everything that happened, if they're definitely taking elements of it and just kind of putting it into this episode, which is a little bit surprising. But yeah, so basically like Shion comes in and she's like, we need to do something about Sadako's uncle, and pretty much says like, we need to go take care of him. Like, I'm gonna go kill him. Like it basically like just kind of shows how kind of how unhinged how unhinged she is. We didn't really get to see that at least in this version of the in the last arc, in that particular arc. Although of course we can see in the original series. But yeah, here she was just. I do think it was interesting how it seemed like she was the one that wanted to go and, kill the uncle instead. But then this time it's like Keiichi is the one who is more like level-headed and trying to say, like, we need to figure out another way to take care of this.
Because in the original version, like, Keiichi was the one that goes out and kills Teppei. But yeah, like what we saw back in the last episode, and what he's literally seeing again right now, is that he feels like that it's not, nothing good will come out of killing Sadako's uncle if they go through with it.
Yeah, like he basically tries to convince convince Shion that she should not do this, and he's really adamant about it. Like, and Rika, I think, realizes that Keiichi like must have remembered something, or something happened with him, because like her reaction to whenever he gets starts seriously trying to talk Shion out of what she's about to do. He literally like stands and gets up close to her, like, and blocks her when she tries to leave. And in response, Shion picks up a freaking chair. It looks like she's about to hit Keiichi over the head.
Well, she does hit him over the head with it.
She does, yeah, like, she does do that, and he still doesn't budge. Like, I don't know how hard she hit him, but like, I guess not hard enough to like really knock him out or anything, but like hard enough for him to bleed from his forehead. But yeah, like, he still just stands there and is like, we need to figure out another way. So that, and then of course I think this is when Rika comes up and also like tries to block her, and that's kind of when she sort of like relents and decides like she's gonna go along with their plan, I guess.
Yeah, I definitely feel like this was definitely Rika's chance to at least push Keiichi. Right.
Yeah, this is when Rika actually does something.
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised that she didn't even do something like before. If whether or not if she.
I know I've heard people's excuse for that, saying like she knows that in this world is screwed, like there's not really a way out of it or something like that. But I just don't know. Like I guess, like, I mean, you would think she would still try to figure something out. But yeah, she just kind of I guess she sort of just gave in and decided it was pointless, I guess, is what people were saying. But I guess now that she's seen the Keiichi has, like, is actually going to try to do something about it. Now she's more, she's more actively trying to help out. Because later on in the episode, she even says, like, I'm powerless to do anything. Like, I need everybody's help in order for everything, like, I guess, things to work out or something. So yeah.
Yeah. So pretty much, like, they all come into a consensus, and they all decide to go over to the Child Welfare Service to plead their case to plead their case against the uncle to get Sadako out of there. Unfortunately.
This part of the anime feels so realistic. It's because of, like, how useless they are. They're just like, we're not gonna do anything. Like, it's
I mean, like, so, like, all of them go to the Child Welfare Service, and then they go to a counselor, and then they plead their case. Unfortunately, like, to no avail, because, like, the counselor tells them, like, there's really no evidence for them to really suggest that that Sadako's uncle is as bad as they claim to be. And, not to mention that she brings up the lie that Sadako brings up, saying that there's nothing wrong. Mm-hmm. And of course, even if, when they try to bring up the fact that Sadako's uncle abandoned her for at least a year and never came back until just now. And of course, like, the counselor just makes up an excuse, like, saying, like, for confidential reasons we can't reveal that again, but they pretty much have no choice but to leave and then try to come up with something else. And then and of course, like, it was almost at the point where Keiichi almost felt like giving up, but thanks to the Rika encouraging Keiichi again, Keiichi decides to take matters up to his own hands once again. So the following day, they all gather into class, and they pretty much, like, rally all the students to support their cause to get to help Sadako out.
Yeah. Of course, all the students know that something is wrong, and I think that one kid, like, was it like Tomita or something, or the kid with glasses, like, he even knows that the uncle is doing something to Sadako, because apparently, I guess he's her neighbor or something like that. So yeah, like, basically Keiichi tries to rally the entire class together to try to go to the the Child Welfare Services office to try to convince them.
Yeah, and of course the teacher also decides to go with them too.
Yeah, like, initially it seemed like the teacher was going to try to put a stop to it, but Rika once again, like, actually intervenes and tells her, like, I'm not going to let you stop them. But the teacher, of course, reveals she wants to help out too.
Yeah.
So she goes with them.
Yeah. So once again, they all go back to the Child Welfare Service, and then of course everyone, like, once again pleads their case to, like, another counselor, but of course, like, it ends up resulting the same as as their first visit. Unfortunately, they go through pretty much go through their case of of what Sadako's going through, including bringing up the fact that Sadako's uncle left for about a year, but the guy that's defending the case, I guess, is saying that the uncle left to for a job for at least a year to provide money for Sadako or something like that. But just for one thing, that doesn't make, I don't know if that makes any sense, because Sadako's been living with Rika the entire time for I don't know for how long, but I
mean, it's like, on one hand, I can sort of understand them not wanting to immediately think that the uncle is actually doing what he's being accused of, but on the other, it's also like, it seems like they're just not really asking any questions, and that they aren't really interested in trying to figure out what might actually be going on.
They're just, I mean, they keep saying that we'll keep a close eye on them, but it literally ticks everyone off, saying that that's not good enough. You need to like be more,
Yeah, like they don't actually, like, try to actively investigate it.
And of course, like, once again, to no avail. Like, they're pretty much back to square one once again. And so now, like, by the end of the episode, like, it pretty much convinced them that they need to take matters into their own hands, like, which suggests that they're gonna get everyone, including people of the townsfolk, to at least go and confront the uncle at this point.
Yeah, and they basically are saying this is sort of like a repeat of the dam project, like how they did with the dam project. They would protest the dam project, so they would also come and protest this, because they mentioned that Hinamizawa, like, everybody is connected in some way, so if something happens to one of them, then all of them get involved. So this is pretty much how I remember it from Kai, because I do remember them kind of protesting outside of the building, and that's sort of what ends up, as far as I remember, like, pushing the child welfare services to actually, like, do something about it. So yeah, but like I said, this happens in Kai, so, like, I'm kind of surprised to see this happening here.
That's what I've been curious about ever since this show started, is if it's gonna be its original thing, or are they gonna, if it's gonna be like a remake combination of, the first and second seasons meshed together.
Yeah, I just don't know how I feel about it, because, like I said, it feels like I've seen a lot of it before, and it's been, like I said, it's been a long time since I've seen Kai, but it all felt very familiar. Like, they've kind of gone through this in Higurashi Kai, so it just kind of felt like they were like, oh, well, this time, instead of just having one thing be different, we're going to go in the direction of, the same direction as the answer arc instead of the question arc. So I'm kind of wondering, like, if that's the only thing they're really changing here. If they're, like, instead of Keiichi going to kill the uncle this time, they kind of veer off into the direction of where they went with the answer arc.
Yeah,
for this.
I mean, if that's the case, I wouldn't really necessarily call this a major change if they're going that route.
Yeah, because, like I said, it seemed like they, technically they've done this before. And this was, in the original answer arc, so this is kind of not necessarily new. But I can't really, like I said, it's been so long since I've watched season 2, so I can't really say how much is really new here. It's hard to say, but a lot of it does feel like I've seen it before. The only thing I guess you could say is maybe different is, like, the very ending where we see, like, Oishi, like, walking down a path and they zoom in on him. So, like, I'm wondering what they're trying to imply with that. Like, if Oishi's gonna, like, what Oishi's gonna do, if he's gonna, like, help out, or if he's gonna do something. I don't know.
He did confront Keiichi in I think one of the episodes ago, asking about Sadako. So that might be something related to that.
Most likely, yeah. I'm just wondering if they're setting Oishi up to be some kind of an antagonistic figure in this, or if he's going to be is actually going to be helpful for once. If I remember correctly from the question arc version of this, Oishi is definitely more antagonistic in this arc towards Keiichi. He suspects Keiichi of, of course, after Keiichi kills the uncle, he's very suspicious of Keiichi. So, but then again, that did not happen in this version. So maybe he'll treat Keiichi differently.
Yeah.
I don't know. But,
I mean, like, it's possible that that they will succeed in saving Sadako from her uncle. But there's one thing that that I'm afraid of is of course the upcoming disaster that's about to happen.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure how they're going to try to prevent that from happening. Like, that could still happen, despite them actually, like, maybe saving Sadako this time.
I mean, we'll have to see. So, supposedly the finale, I think, what was it? This is the 11th. So, we're going to head into the 12th episode next week. And then I think that's probably the end of the first core, unless if there's a 13th episode I'm not aware of.
Yeah, I mean, typically these arcs are like 4 episodes each, or so. So this one seems to be a little bit longer.
I don't know. I mean, this is technically the 3rd episode of this arc.
Yeah.
So, but yes, I think we are gonna end up ending this core off maybe next week, if I'm assuming this correctly. But yeah, so hopefully, like we'll get to see what happens next week if it does get resolved or something major crazy happens.
Yeah, I almost wanted to do, throw a curveball at me or something, so give me something I'm not going to see coming. To be fair, I didn't see some of the things that happened in this episode coming, but only because I didn't think that they would, try to put in elements from Higurashi Kai into this. So I was kind of surprised by that. But other than that, yeah, like I've kind of seen this happen before, technically, because this is the same thing that, like I said, happens in the answer arc for this, from what I remember. So yeah, I mean, hopefully they have something original maybe in the next episode that I haven't, either visual novel readers or people who have just seen the anime that we haven't seen before. That's kind of what I'm hoping for, is they do something. It's like, oh, I didn't see, expect that to happen, something like that.
I mean, my expectations are kind of in the middle of the road right now in terms of what's going to happen in the next episode, or maybe in the final resolution of this particular arc.
Yeah, like I wouldn't say my expectations are low, but they're definitely not high. Like I'd say they're more like just average. I don't expect it to be anything crazy, but I guess we'll see. Like, I keep wondering what the Umaneku characters are doing, like if they're even going to show up. Maybe they'll save that until like near the end of the season, but they haven't shown up so far, so I'm like wondering if maybe it'll be something like that, where they'll just like reveal
because
one of
it's
them.
like I said, because this so-called reboot or whatever they're calling this is just it's already gone into familiar territory that we've seen before, and like pretty much the first part of this is like almost like redoing most of like what the original series did, and now with this episode with them implementing elements from Kai, like I feel like the next core is gonna implement more elements of Kai and then have a resolution by the end of that core. I'm not sure, but
yeah, the next arc is the time killing arc, I think. I forget. I think that one focuses on Rika, or not Rika, Rena. I think it shows things from Rena's perspective of what she's going through.
I remember there was one arc where it focused on Shion's perspective as well.
Yeah, that was. I think that might. Well, okay. So the original anime did this weird, like in the original question arc for that was the Watanagashi arc, or that was supposed to be the answer arc for Watanagashi, I think. But in the original anime, they like blended the answer arc with the question arc, like because after reading that arc in the visual novel, everything should have been from Keiichi's perspective. Keiichi didn't know what was going on. He thought it was Mion the whole time. We never get the reveal that it was actually Shion. It's not until like I think you get to the answer arc version of that you see things from Shion's perspective and learn it was Shion. So yeah, it's a little bit weird how they did that, but yeah, I think that's probably what you're talking about. But yeah, I don't really have too much else to say about this episode. Like, it was definitely a step up from the last episode for sure, because it did kind of I kind of expected it to do something. I didn't really expect it to go this direction, but I'm now curious as to what's if this is actually going to have like a decent, like a good resolution, or if they're going to end up like Rika said in this episode at another dead end. So I guess we'll have to see.
I mean, like, I mean, we if we remember what happened at the end of the original series, in which we think something good is about to happen, something throws a curveball at us, and then we're back at square one again.
Ryokishi 7 is known to troll, so I would not be surprised if you just kind of out of nowhere something bad happens.
That's one thing that I can probably expect coming at the end of this arc, but we'll see what happens. But I feel like they're not going to resolve something this early into the show.
I doubt it. But yeah, I don't know if you have anything else
Yeah.
to say about this
I
episode
mean,
in particular.
I thought it was a good episode. It's like, I mean, not much happened, besides with everyone else trying to help Sadako out. But overall, I thought this was a decent episode. I mean, it's still going into familiar territory we've already seen before, so we'll have to see what
Right.
what kind of direction the writers are going to head for this. Whether they're just going to take a lot of elements, from Higurashi Kai and then put a little twist on it for the next core. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, I feel like you're probably right about that. I feel like they'll probably just kind of do something like how they did with the past couple arcs. They'll probably just it probably will at the very end they'll have something different happen. It'll be like one thing different, but it's kind of like the same results are going to happen
Pretty
anyway.
much.
It's pretty much what they've been doing. So I mean, I would not be surprised if that ended up happening. I kind of am crossing my fingers and hope they don't do that and they do something. They just take it in a wildly different direction, because like they've been saying, this is supposed to be a sequel. So I mean, I would hope that they would have different things happening. But
I mean, would we really call this a sequel? Because
that's what they've been saying. Like I don't know. Like that's the thing. Like people are calling it a sequel, but it feels more like people have also been saying this is kind of like Final Fantasy VII Remake, where it's sort of like the same thing, but not. Like it goes in a different direction with the story, but it's I don't know. I mean, I would kind of say it's sort of like that, but I also not, just because at least Final Fantasy VII Remake definitely heavily implied they were going in a totally, like, it seemed like they were going in a really different direction. But this is like, I don't know, like it seems like the same kind of stuff happening. It's just it plays out a little bit differently.
Because I know what happens, but I'm not going to reveal too much. But it's I mean it's something we'll have to keep our toes on, on whether or not they're going to follow the same formula as they did with both the first and Kai. But like I said, we'll have to see. Hopefully by next week, or maybe by the next core.
Yeah, but I mean, that all being said, of course, we will see you all next Thursday.